But imagine if somebody spoke to me even before I was in standard 8 and told me, Johnson, or the whole class, take care of this. My life would perhaps been different. Because a lot of people are into drugs. Because maybe they were introduced to it when they didn't know, and now boom, they're into it and they can't come out. And so this is also a message to parents. Don't wait until your child is at a particular age, of course reasonably when they can understand, but be open about these issues and really state your stand. Because the first time I really heard somebody saying this is wrong was when I was in Form 1. But a whole year I was already in it. So you can imagine. But that also helped the turn. Because now I knew, this is not right. This is not right. So it's a struggle. A lot of people, and I'm sure now it's even more challenging with phones, because then we didn't have phones. Getting a magazine was difficult. Being in school, you have a set program. We didn't have a television set at home. So it was very difficult to get access to such videos. But now, you can imagine, I'm very particular about what I watch. And so, let's say a lady comes and they're not well dressed. It does something to my mind because I'm trying to battle how they look. And so, sometimes I will not engage with them as much as it would allow. Because for me, scripture says, run, flee from anything immoral. So when I see a lady who has a business deal and is dressed like this, it affects how we connect, because I'm trying to flee. They may be conscious about what they're doing, or they may not be conscious because it's part of fashion. But for me, then it draws, because I'm trying to say, okay, so I'm trying to listen to you and I'm not really giving you the attention. And maybe you might think, oh, this person is like this. So I might decide we're not going to have this meeting in this particular place where we are all alone. I'd rather we just speak out there, or I'll limit our conversations. So it does affect in many ways, because I also know I cannot just say, oh, God delivered me, so I'm just going to be free to read whatever newspapers are there. No, I'm not going to do that, because I'm standing for my family. I'm not just going to say, well, it's Facebook, so let's check all the videos. No. There's some videos I know they're whoa. If I get here, I'm done. So it does affect. As a matter of fact, I will say any person who gets into it, it's a lifelong battle. And there is no day you wake up and say, I'm just going to watch anything. No, it can't. It's just like a drug addict. You can't say, no, now let me just taste whatever. No. Yeah. So I think a lesson to parents is, there's normally that thought, a generational gap. But I think as we learn what our children are doing, then we sort of bridge that gap, so that they don't think whatever they're going through, they're the only ones, or they're the first ones. So as we openly talk about issues, I remember one of my sisters actually spoke about it at one time, and I was like, wow. And we shared, of course, in passing, and I felt, you know what, she was doing a good thing, because it was part of her family meeting, and we were talking about these things openly. My little boy is 7 years. We've spoken about intimacy. Of course, from a general perspective, where now he understands that men and women are different. And the reason Papa and Mommy are together is because they have this relationship. He can see our wedding photos and he appreciates them. Of course, for the little girl who is 3 years, not yet. But little things like anytime you're taking a shower or changing, please have your privacy, lock the door. If your brother is changing, please excuse him. Or when I'm changing, I say, okay, little girl, please excuse me. So that already I'm sending a message that yes, we are different and there is a level of respect. And so as they grow, I hope to introduce more and more. But I introduce it, and I pray that God will work through this. I introduce it in a way that I tell them, your body is so precious, and the time you will say, I am now willing to share my body with another person, it has to be a place where you're committed, you're mature enough to understand. So far, in terms of regret, I would say there are those thoughts, but I am confident that my life is in the hands of God, and that I can trust for tomorrow because He's already there. I may not change what happened in the past, but I believe He can turn whatever happened in the past for something that now I can share, something that somebody else can learn from, but ultimately knowing that it was a precious part of my life, and if it wasn't there, I wouldn't be who I am now. So it really is part of the whole building. And so if I'm doing something big today, it's also because of that bad thing I did, which adds up to the beautiful mix. And ultimately, that's when God is glorified. That now I can say, not me. All praises shouldn't come to me. Actually, all praises should go to God, because I wouldn't have delivered myself. And if it wasn't for Him, I wouldn't be talking to you today as a testimony.